Greetings and welcome to this episode of the Heal and Restore podcast with your host, me, Randy, or
And
Captain
me.
Courageous,
And me, Kathy.
my crazy wife.
Yeah.
Look,
Hey, everybody's got
actually,
one.
look. It's I Dream of Jeannie today.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, yeah. I saw she walked in here and went, "Dee." Nothing changed, but at least she tried.
I was trying, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, we got this is the last Monday in January.
I know, I feel like, okay,
My
we're already
goodness gracious.
1/12 of
Christmas
the
was
way through the
gone.
year.
Christmas flew by. New Year's was like non-existent to us.
Yeah,
And now here we are.
here we are, coming up
But
on February already.
it's a good thing.
What's that?
We're here,
Yeah.
thank God. And if you think you're struggling in life, right now is a really good time to reflect.
Mhm.
Why? You could be living in California where
Yeah.
you've lost everything. Kathy brought this up to me that they still have their lives, but they don't have a life anymore.
Yeah. Carlos Whitaker, somebody I
Yeah.
follow on Instagram, and he said it the best. He says,
Yeah.
they have their life, Life,
Right.
but they've lost their lives,
Everything.
Lives. Their lives were in those homes.
You know what? It doesn't. Here's the thing. Humanity, and as Christ would also want us to think, it doesn't matter who they were. And a lot of high-paying celebrities, a lot of very wealthy people lost everything.
Yeah, they're all humans.
They lost their lives. Everything about their life was in most of those people's houses.
Their lives, yeah.
While they're rich, they can. It doesn't matter. They're human beings.
Yeah, they're still human
So
beings.
just be grateful, if
Mhm.
nothing else, that you're in a safe spot,
Yeah,
that you have a roof over your head still,
food
you
on your
got
table.
food on your table, you have
Yeah.
all your belongings still.
I'm grateful.
All right.
I'm
And
grateful.
this should also be a lesson, a big lesson. Material things are nothing.
Yeah,
They
we
can
have
be
to have each
wiped
other.
out. You don't have to wait to death. And I'm saying this very respectfully. They can be wiped out
Yeah.
like that at any time,
Yeah.
in a blink of an eye.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
be grateful for everything you
Absolutely.
have.
So I'm excited because we're back again. We're still going through questions that you, our listeners and friends that I reached out to, have created this beautiful bunch of content for us. And
Yes.
so we have one on marriage today. But before we jump into that, I want to do a little house cleaning.
Yes.
I know I mentioned last week about our new book that's out called Renewing Bonds. You can purchase it on Amazon. However, if you go to our website at healandrestorecounseling.com, there is a link there that you can click on, put your information in, and we will send you a free copy of the Renewing Bonds book in a PDF format.
Yes.
So if you're okay with that, go to our website. We'll be happy to send it to you.
And we also have our uh,
How to
heal and restore your marriage, which is 4 steps to restoring your marriage. We have Hearts Reunited will be coming out probably midsummer.
I'll say this year.
Yeah, that's all she's saying. I'm going to overrule it eventually, but we got that one coming out. It's written, it's
All
ready to
of our
go.
books, you can go to our website
Yeah.
and there's a link for books and they're all listed there. You can purchase them right through that, or you can go straight to Amazon. Put in Randy Boyd
Yeah,
and his books will all come up.
Healing the Wounded Child Within, which is also the same as Healing the Wounded Man Within. For some reason, Amazon didn't take, which is okay. We're selling
We're
them.
selling them. They're selling.
7-day divorce, 7-day challenge, the 30-day divorce on the wholeness, all that.
Yeah,
So
all the books are there. So
all
if
the
you
books.
go to the website and you got your
I
choices.
think I got to double check that. I don't know if they're all there yet or not.
Okay,
I got some work to do.
Most of them are there.
I think.
So one of the things I mentioned last week, I need to correct. I mentioned our kickoff for 2025. I mentioned a dollar amount. That dollar amount was incorrect.
Yes.
So I apologize for that. What we at Heal and Restore Counseling are doing is we're kicking off the first quarter of 2025, and we're offering a 20% discount to new clients. However, before you even sign up to become a new client, we offer a 1-hour free discovery session. That is 1 hour. It's no cost to you. It's a free EBGB freebie thing. And what we do is we want to meet with you. We want to hear what's going on, where you need help, where you're struggling. And then we'll share a little bit about us, tell you about our story, what's got us here, what drives us to do what we do. And we want to make sure we're a good fit. So after that 1 hour free discovery session, we'll explain what that program looks like. And so every new client that signs up with us between now and March 1st will receive 20% discount on our 12-week coaching service. And again, we'll go through that with you. We're just excited to make sure that we reach those that maybe have financially, it's been a little hard, and we want to make sure that we take care of you, and give you the best opportunity to get the help that you desire as well. The other thing I wanted to share is Randy is also SYMBIS certified, and people are like, SYMBIS certified? What is SYMBIS certified? SYMBIS stands for Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. SYMBIS, SYMBIS, Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts.
And it's just a simple assessment,
Mhm.
right? It's been developed by a Christian couple, and it's taken about 21 years to develop for them. It's not a
Personality test.
personality test or strength test or spiritual. It's none of that. It's an assessment.
Yeah.
And what we found out doing this is that
It's a lot of insightful things you'll find out.
insightful
Definitely.
things, and all of our clients have said this thing's been point
Yeah.
on.
And it's insightful in the way that not only is it insightful that you find out things about yourself, some of it you might have known, other things you're like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But also your partner, the person you're going to marry. Now, we say saving your marriage before it starts,
Right.
but this is also for married couples. Yep. We've done it ourselves, and the assessment questions change slightly if you put in your date of marriage. Right. And so it's also for married couples, because even as married couples, 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, there's new things developing.
Absolutely.
We're always changing. We're always evolving. And so it's really a kind of a fun thing to do if you're married as well.
Yeah, it's a fun thing to do. And also it'll kind of open up your mind, at least give you some food for thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So this week we're going to dive back into one of the questions. This question came from Ashley B. And it's a great question. And I think a lot of us can struggle here. And what she asked, it says, my love language is the acts of service, and so is my husband's. How do you draw the line between acts of service and serving your spouse versus coming across like their mother and making them helpless and or becoming resentful?
Wow. Great question.
Yeah, great question. So I don't know how many people are familiar with the 5 love languages, but the 5 love languages, according to Dr. Gary Chapman, who created this beautiful assessment in this book, there's 5 of them. Mm-hmm. So it's words of affirmation. That's your favorite. Mm-hmm. That's yours. Quality time. That's me. Mm-hmm. Receiving gifts. I do like to receive gifts too. Physical touch and acts of service. Yeah, physical touch is your other, your other one. So usually there's 1 or 2 that are your top love language. So in this case, Ashley's asking about acts of service. So let's just kind of describe what acts of service are so we can connect to this question. So acts of service is doing thoughtful deeds and gestures to help make your partner's life easier by relieving burdens. Okay, so that's what your acts of service represents. Being able to do thoughtful deeds and gestures to make your partner's life easier, to relieve burdens. So we love the fact that both of you guys share that same love language, but finding balance in acts of service can be tricky. But it comes down to basically healthy boundaries. And we've talked about healthy boundaries and communication throughout a lot of our episodes on Heal and Restore podcast. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be really important. If you haven't listened to those, go back and listen to those. But we do have a few tips that will help you to navigate balancing out acts of service between you and your spouse. So what's the first one?
Ask for input. And I just wrote the question down. I didn't even see that question yet. Similar to that. It's instead of assuming what your husband or wife might need, ask him or her directly. This keeps things collaborative and ensures you're meeting his or her needs without taking over.
I think that's where the resentments come in. We allow ourselves to take over and then become resentful.
So the question to ask yourself, like some people, Kathy and I were very familiar with Codependence Anonymous. Some people come back with, well, that's pretty codependent, isn't it? Well, what's your motive? Mm-hmm. We have to search my motive. What is your motive, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's important. And with the question, I'd say, how do I know what thoughtful deeds and gestures to give my wife or my husband.
Mm-hmm.
How do I do that? Well, it comes back to that evil thing that we talk about, communication.
Mm. The
That's
big
all.
C word.
Yeah, I mean, Kathy and I talk about this. How many couples ever sat down before they got married, because we're all in bubble land and unicorn land and rainbow land because we're falling in love?
Yep.
How many really sit down and have a serious conversation with their to be bride or groom, spouse? How many people sit and go, these are the expectations in my life.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that are non-negotiables.
Right.
What are my needs?
Yeah.
These are the needs that I need. These are both for myself. Some of these needs and gestures are from that I have to create myself.
Right.
But a lot of them are what I'm going to need from my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
How many have ever talked about
Yeah.
that? So if you don't know your partner's needs, right? What's going to help them love you more? How can you fulfill that?
Yeah,
So
especially when it comes to acts of
right.
service. That's one thing that's really, really important. What's the next one that we have is avoid overdoing it.
Yeah.
Acts of service, they can easily feel like you're doing way
Way
too
too
much
much.
for him or her. And that can lead us to just being dependent. They're being dependent on us and us being dependent on them, and then having those expectations. And there we talk about the expectations you just brought up. All of these feelings can just feel uncomfortable. But we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful that when we're doing something out of habit,
Yeah.
versus are we genuinely doing it to be helpful or
And
appreciated?
doing it from your heart.
And that's where that what is your motive comes into
Where does
as
your motive
well.
come from?
Yeah.
So, it's like, okay, I sit down with Kathy and we have a meeting, come to Jesus meeting. It might be for her, it might be for me. And I said, Kathy, there's some needs that I haven't been communicating to you, and these are my needs. It might be, um, I would appreciate it, maybe once or twice a week you would get up and make the coffee. Right. And now look I'm talking stuff and I'm just making a lot of the stuff up. Okay. Because Kathy and I have a great relationship and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy,
if you need me to make coffee one day, just let me know.
Yeah. You see, and she will too. She's very good about that. Or, Kath, why don't you cook more dinners? Why? It just seems like, man, I got to do all the cooking. I take the trash out. I clean up the kitchen all the time. I go, I could use a little bit of help. And I'm not saying I want you to do it all. Kathy goes, okay, I understand. That's perfectly legitimate, and I know why you're asking them, and I'm going to work on it. Okay, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you go along, right? Now, this is going to be new behavior for Kathy. So you just see what happens in maybe a week or two. Just let it go by and love your wife, right? Understand that none of us are perfect. And then if it doesn't happen, right? Hey, babe, we need to talk. And then we have a conversation, right? Remember a couple of weeks ago, we had a talk about one of the big needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I've given you time, and I haven't seen any action taken on that part. Okay. I
Yes.
haven't seen any
Yes,
action,
I'm listening.
right? You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
The only thing is I said I'd give you, let's talk again in a couple of weeks, which we did.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm feeling this way. I'm
I'm
noticing this.
I'm feeling this way. I'm noticing this. Not going to nag, right? Not going to nag,
Right.
right? And I think going to ask this question without feeling like a mother, don't be a mother.
Yeah.
And again, it's like a lot of people have a hard time, even if they've been married for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, expressing what they really, really need from their spouse.
Right. Yeah. So avoid overdoing it, but also be able to express your needs as well.
Because here's a good example of what overdoing it looks like. Hey, Kath, I really would like you to go to this conference with me this weekend because it's really good. And you babble on about something else. It's like, Kathy, that's not what I'm talking about. And she keeps on kind of avoiding answering the question. And I don't feel like I'm being heard. Now, the first time, did you hear me? What? So my voice goes up a little louder.
So now you're overdoing it.
So now I'm overdoing it because I don't feel my voice is being heard. And I keep on raising the bar of my voice until if you don't hear me down here, you're going to really hear me up here. And what we're doing is like pushing them away.
Yeah. So,
okay. So that comes from, again, poor communication. And part of communication, actually the most important, is what?
Listening.
That's
it. Yeah.
So you need to put everything away and sit down with just you and your spouse, knee to knee, and have a conversation.
Right. But that's where acts of service is being able to speak up and use your voice, but not overdo it.
Not overdo it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So the third one is encouraging independence. So Ashley says, how do you do this without being a mom? Like you said, don't be a mom. As a mom, you have to teach your children a certain amount of independence. If you're doing that to your children, don't just assume your spouse needs, they've got to be in the relationship. It's new to them. So if you're overdoing things and overcompensating for the acts of service, you're not helping them.
No.
So it's important to balance the acts of service with moments of encouragement to your spouse, that they can handle things on their own.
You shouldn't have to stand on your head to make your husband happy.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
He or she is fully capable of doing these things themselves. And it's really healthy for them to learn. It's okay. Even if it takes a little longer.
Yeah.
Or even, this is my one I had to learn, even if it's not done exactly how I like it. Because you know what? I learned a long time ago that not everybody's going to do things the way I do. As long as they can get from point A to point B and it's done, it shouldn't matter to me how it's done.
And let's talk about this. Simple, like you said, not like I do it. Right? That's you're different. Number one, you do things differently.
I'm different.
So I mean, everybody's different, right?
Our processing's different. Our
So
logic is
if
different.
your husband, you want your husband to do the dishes, maybe put him in. So he loads the dishwasher. All right, great. He loaded the dishwasher. Hey, honey, thanks for loading the dishwasher. You did a great job, but I wouldn't put the glasses here. I wouldn't put the plates here. You did it all backwards. I don't do it this way.
Just negated that encouragement and that appreciation.
It just went out the window.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. The dishes are in the dishwasher. They're pre-rinsed. I don't pre-rinse them. They're going to be pre-rinsed if you want me to do the dishes. Compliment, acknowledge what they did. If you don't like the way they put the dishes in there, then you take your own time and redo them different.
We got the message, honey.
No. Listen to me though. I do that. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? She puts the bowls where the glasses go, right? It's like, no, the bowls go down. I don't say nothing to her.
But you know what? And here's the thing. Here's the thing. One of the things, and this is where we talk about the needs and not overdoing it.
Right.
You asked me a month or so ago, would you mind just putting all the forks in here? Would you put the spoons here? And you know what? I have been doing that.
Yes,
and I'll be honest with you. I did that because I was honoring your request.
I know you were. I noticed it.
But it is easier. It is easier to put things away. Now, some things
this is the first I've heard that.
Yes. So anyways, I would that's why I say, yes, honey, I hear you, because I listened, I heard, I valued, and now I get the value of it. I'll just be honest. I get the value of that. Now, not everything will it always be that way. And even in that, I don't always agree with all of it, and I still do some things my way.
Yeah.
But the fact is I listened and I valued what you said, and I benefit now.
And we both do that.
Yeah.
In different ways, right? I mean.
Yeah, that's good. But this next one, though, we've talked about, and this is where it's so important, is discuss expectations. You talked about the discussing of expectations prior to a marriage,
right?
But being able to have an open conversation where you both perceive acts of service and what it feels to be supportive versus overbearing. Talk about what acts of service is to you, what you expect from acts of service, because sometimes acts of service, like maybe acts of service is one of your love languages, and I'm doing things thinking that it's giving you the acts of service, but it's not fulfilling that for you.
Right.
Be able to have the conversation, because maybe what I'm doing is overbearing and it's
Right.
not you're not receiving it
No.
the way you desire to receive
No,
it.
and plus we have to remember, right? Maybe one of your expectations was fulfilled.
Mhm.
So you're gonna come up with
Something
things
new.
are gonna change over life.
Yeah.
You're gonna have different
That's good.
expectations, right? And that's okay. I mean, we're growing together. We're growing as individuals,
Mhm.
but we're growing together in a committed
Yeah.
relationship, right? We can't look at, oh, well, my expectations were all met. Now what?
Nope.
And I'm just gonna leave. Oh, marriage, Kathy and I have been married
Gotta
for
work on it.
over 41 years.
Yeah.
And believe me, we've done a lot of
Yeah.
work and we still continue to do work
But
on it.
having the conversations, understanding boundaries with them, that's gonna help avoid all the resentments that come into
100%.
play in that one. So,
They are not you.
yeah, no, and that's where conversation, communication is so, so important to understand what even though you have the same love language, you might receive the love language differently.
Differently.
Have a conversation so you're not assuming the way you receive it is the way he or she should receive it.
So it boils down to communication again.
Mhm.
98% of divorces in America
Yeah.
are due to poor
Yeah,
communication.
absolutely. Yeah.
Real simple.
Yep. So then as we close out, we get
But
every time I close out, you have another thought.
but because you're too fast sometimes. But if you're struggling with this communication,
Reach out.
reach out to healandrestore.com.
HealAndRestoreCounseling.com.
Sorry, thank you, Cal. Healandrestorecounseling.com.
Yep.
Fill out the contact information, put in there what you're
Let's chat.
struggling with, and we'll call and we'll chat with you. And we'll set up that complimentary 1-hour discovery session.
Yeah, we can
It's
definitely
real
do
simple.
that. Yeah. But I think the most important thing, with acts of service and both of you being acts of service is, appreciation, be able to appreciate and express gratitude to each
Yes.
other. You both can appreciate the acts of service from one another and form the kind of care and love that you desire. And then it ensures that neither one of you are feeling like the other one's doing more than the other or doing they're not doing their fair share. I'm doing it all. That's not a fun place to be.
And there's certain things we have to learn to compromise with and learn about our partner to understand them and understand that it's not personal, that there's a lot in the marriage. Here's what I'll do with Kathy. This is a little joke. We're watching TV or reading, doing whatever.
I'm scared here to hear what's coming out of his mouth now.
And I was like this morning, I was cooking. I go, Kathy. She goes, what?
I'm right here.
I love you.
Oh.
Right. And I did it again. You're beautiful.
Yeah.
I did it one more time, but I won't say what I said then.
Yeah, it's quite a good idea.
No, but yeah, I mean,
so there's compromise, but don't forget to express gratitude, the appreciation.
Absolutely.
Because I think that the appreciation, gratitude goes a long way. And outward expressions of how we feel about when somebody offers us acts of service, that's gonna go miles. And then in turn, the other person's gonna want to do the same for the other person, especially if acts of service is your love language.
Yes.
So this whole thing takes balance. It's ongoing communication, like we keep talking about. Having mutual respect for each other.
Yes.
As autonomy, because you are different.
Yep.
And that way you can both support each other while maintaining a strong sense, not just a sense, a strong sense of self, not only for yourself, but for your partner. And I think that's really important.
And I want to say one thing, probably in closing, is that you're in a relationship and things are going good, but then there's some things that, as happens a lot in marriages and relationships, you start noticing some things that, and a lot of times you say something to that person, like, I'll never change, it's who I am. Well, here's the deal. You can't change anybody.
No.
And the person that says, the person that says, this is who I am, I can't change, they're lying to you. They don't want to change.
They're not open.
They're not open to it. So we have to be open to compromise in marriage. We have to be open. Hey, our partner, Kathy had a very successful career in escrow, right? I have to respect that.
Yeah.
Right? You have to learn to go with the punches.
Mm.
And sometimes we have to give our spouse just a little extra room to work through whatever they're working through.
Right. Because in the long run, we both win.
Yeah.
We both benefit from that. So
Kathy and I do what? We make each other number
First.
one.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Absolutely. So Ashley B, thank you for
Yes,
this
great
question.
question.
If anybody is curious about those love languages, you can go online. Just Google the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. It's a free assessment.
Yes.
We encourage it. We encourage it with our clients
Yep.
is to, make sure you know what your love language is for yourself as well as your spouse. And there's usually one that's really strong and then one that's right underneath it. They benefit when you know those. So it's really important and it helps enhance the marriage.
Exactly.
Yes. So
So there.
that's a good one.
So
Thank you, Ashley.
thanks, Ashley. It was a great question.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll look forward to more. We got
a book of them.
We got a book of them, so, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And again, we want to put that call out there.
Yeah. And if there is anybody out there that if we are not hitting on a question or you're thinking of
Right.
something as you're listening to this, shoot us an email at healandrestorecounseling@gmail.com with your question. We'd love to add that question to our content.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Good stuff.
all right.
All right.
So remember, if nobody tells you they love you today, Kathy does.
Randy does.
More importantly, God does. Be blessed, everybody. Have a fabulous week.
Have a great week.